All hail King Djokovic. It's one thing to win, but to silence your fiercest critics and break records at the age of 35? Something only the current #1 can do. Let's talk about the impact of his recent win at the Australian Open and his undeniable legacy. In essence, you're looking at a player who lacks any flaws in his technique. You're looking at a complete player, and when you pair that with mental clarity and the conviction he has, he can win every game he plays regardless of circumstances. This victory is huge for Novak's professional trajectory because it comes at a critical time in his career and is the sport's highest honor. Nobody can take away his status as a champion from him no matter what he does in life. Stefanos Tsitsipas of Greece was defeated by the 25-year-old Serbian in the Australian Open singles final by scores of 6-3, 7-6, and 7-6. You know what that means? Djokovic has won more Australian Open tournaments than any other tennis player. In addition, the victory gives Djokovic his 22nd overall Grand Slam trophy, tying him with Rafael Nadal for the most ever. After the game, an obviously moved Djokovic told the Rod Laver Arena crowd that this trophy was the biggest victory of my entire life considering the circumstances. It's the perfect circle, right? A year after being expelled from Australia for not having the COVID-19 vaccine, Djokovic went back to Melbourne to win the championship. The #4 seed this year had to contend with his quest for retribution. With everything from a chronic hamstring injury and some controversy his family had to deal with before the quarterfinal due to a video of his father holding a Russian flag, and let's not forget all the backlash he got for being an anti-vaxxer. So we're not the only ones in awe. Tsitsipas praised the GOAT profusely after an outstanding performance. In terms of tennis, Djokovic played flawlessly, winning 82% of his serve points and 62% of his second serve points. In the game, he only made 22 unforced mistakes while executing 36 wins. While Tsitsipas had the chance to win the second and third sets, Djokovic was unquestionably the player who excelled during the lengthy rallies and high-stakes situations. Now in the upcoming 2023 Roland Garros, Novak Djokovic has the opportunity to rewrite history once again. With 22 Grand Slam victories to date, the Serbian has long been a formidable force on the ATP Tour. But if he were to win the 2023 Roland Garros, he'd beat Rafael Nadal, his greatest adversary, and take the record for most Grand Slam victories in history. Due to its clay courts, the Roland Garros, commonly known as the French Open, is regarded as one of the hardest Grand Slams to win. A third victory at Roland Garros in 2023 would solidify Djokovic's status as one of the greatest clay court players of all time. Fingers crossed. Djokovic's influence on tennis history, though, extends beyond merely his stellar win-loss record on clay. He'll become the first player to ever win 3 Grand Slam titles at each tournament if he triumphs at the 2023 Roland Garros. But for Djokovic, getting to the 2023 Roland Garros won't be simple. Some of the best players in the world will give him a tough time, including Nadal, who will be vying for his 15th Roland Garros victory and 23rd Grand Slam victory. I'm not worried though, because if anyone, Djokovic is the only person who's up for the challenge. He's repeatedly demonstrated that he's a ferocious competitor with the mental and physical strength it takes to win when it matters the most. This plotline makes the French Open look like it will be historic, and Novak Djokovic will have plenty of chances to do it. The tennis fans will be watching intensely to see if he can defy the odds and win his 23rd Grand Slam championship, and one thing is for sure, no matter what happens, Djokovic's impact and influence on the sport will be felt for a long time. There was never a time when it was more obvious who we were looking at as Novak Djokovic lay in his player's box openly sobbing after winning his 22nd major at the Australian Open. Although it's obvious that Djokovic has significantly more tennis left in him than the Spaniard, the victory brought him equal with Rafael Nadal in the all-time rankings. The topic of the popular GOAT argument, as it's often known, quickly came up in conversation. Clearly, Djokovic is the choice for many, and it's getting harder to refute this claim. Anyone who's watched him in Australia at Wimbledon last year or at pretty much any other moment in his career has to admit he has one of the most flawless games the sport has ever seen. While many great players have a distinguishing aspect of their style that may be admired, Djokovic is equally brilliant in all of them. He's likely the first man to play the game flawlessly with no weaknesses that could be exposed. That applies to his mental as well as physical well-being. How you define great will eventually determine if Djokovic is the best. You can think that Rafael Nadal's perseverance in overcoming setbacks to achieve what he has to offer represents greater GOATness than what Djokovic. The most important factor might be Roger Federer's flair, grace, and the way he practically single-handedly revitalized tennis by motivating new generations, but that's why greatness will always be a matter of opinion, and for good reason. After all, we all share the love of tennis, and we each get distinct pleasures from it. But surely there can no longer be any question as to who the greatest player to ever play the game is. Let's be real. Novak Djokovic is the embodiment of tennis perfection if you were to construct it from the start. First of all, he started from literal scratch. Between 1991 and 1999, he already experienced 2 conflicts by the time he was 13 years old. His favorite court on Mount Kapaunic, where he was initially introduced to tennis, was among the few tennis courts Serbia had at the time before they were all destroyed by bombing. Fortunately for Novak, things began to improve a little, and he was able to attend overseas tennis academies. Before that, he'd practice in deserted swimming pools. This is a man who knows adversity. He made people uncomfortable when he started winning, and even now, he's not shy to stand up for what he believes in. Just take a look at the US Open in 2011 and 2015, and Wimbledon in 2014, 2015, and 2019. He's the maestro of making the critics silent, and even if thousands of spectators are booing him, he still wins, almost in spite. Novak Djokovic's 22nd Grand Slam title victory at the Australian Open 2023 will likely solidify his position as one of the greatest tennis players of all time. His success on the court has been remarkable, and this latest win adds to an already impressive resume. In terms of his legacy, Djokovic will be remembered for his exceptional skill and competitiveness, as well as his longevity and consistency at the highest level of the sport. He's consistently been at the top of the game for over a decade and has shown no signs of slowing down, which is a testament to his dedication and work ethic. Also, the controversies surrounding Djokovic, particularly during the COVID-19 pandemic, have also had an impact on his image and reputation. Still, I think these events will likely only be a small part of his overall legacy, and his on-court accomplishments will remain the primary focus of his legacy in the years to come. So if you were to ask me, I'd say his 22nd Grand Slam victory has cemented his status, and his legacy will be defined by his exceptional skill, competitiveness, longevity, and consistency on the court. That's all for now. See you later.